Yep, I'm still here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show this week. And as always, I'm your host, David Burrows. Survived the weekend. Boy, if you thought there was nothing to do, you really didn't get off your couch. So much happening all over Sarnia Lambton, but obviously a big part of that, the tall ships. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But happy Monday. Hope you're doing well and getting out and enjoying what's left of the summer. It's August. Can you believe it's August 12th? September will be here before you know it. Kids will be back in school. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's true. So anyway, thanks for stopping by here. I got, of course, one of the great things I love about Mondays, I get three fantastic individuals to talk to. And what I've started to do here every week, because the show's about community and entertainment, and I know it's a lot about Sarnia Lambton, but I thought, why don't we, I've always wanted to use the live streaming thing to be able to connect our community with other communities around the world, right? Because we can learn so much from each other by connecting our communities. So as I've established many relationships over the years around the globe, from Australia to United Kingdom, all throughout the United States and Canada and different parts of the world, as you're going to see, I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Why don't we have an out-of-town guest every week? So this week, of course, last week, I had my first international guest on the live show, Anita Myers, who wrote a book, which is fantastic. And I got my copy in the mail today. Oh, I should have brought it down here with me, but there's a picture on my Facebook page, and you can see that, the undercover superhero. And the publisher who helped her with that is going to be talking with us today, and she's also in the United States. So that'll be good talking to her. So I just think it'd be neat to learn from each other, connect our communities, and have some fun along the way. What's wrong with making new friends, right? So I'm going to say hello out there. There's my friend Dom. Hello, Dom. And I didn't join Stephen Healy on the Broadcasting to Your Community show today because, I was getting ready, caught up in all the things that I fell behind with because it was so busy down at Tall Ships and Blue Water Borderfest, and just taking a little bit extra of a rest. My feet were killing me, but it was all worth it. I'm not complaining. And Mary Lou's out there. She says, kudos for the coverage this weekend. You were a busy boy. Yes, I was definitely a busy boy. I did watch part of the show with Stephen Healy, and I know he had Dom join him on there, and looked like Corinder joined him on there, and he mentioned I did 36 plus live broadcasts over the weekend. Whoa, hello. All right. So I definitely was busy. All right, well, let's talk about some of that. Of course, the tall ships. Here we go. There's this is the Empire Sandy, was one of the ships that was there. So much work went into this in collaboration with Blue Water Borderfest and Artscape. But the Tall Ships Committee, the volunteers, the many volunteers that were involved. I got to tell you, the parking is always an issue, or is always, I shouldn't say it's always an issue. Parking's often a concern at large events. And I didn't see any big major problems. There was lots of parking around. I was able to drive right in. You could still have access to Paddy Flaherty's and Stokes Bay and the marina. There were some limitations. They were saying, if you weren't being a part of that, there was no parking down there, but they had people directing traffic, and everything I thought went really, really smoothly. I'm sure there were a few hiccups along the way. When you've got, about 30,000 people attending an event over a weekend, there's probably going to be a couple unhappy people, but I think from what I saw and behind the scenes, could see that everything ran pretty smooth. There's Director of Parks and Recreation, my friend Rob Hardwood. We were there on the we were on the Blue Nose 2 on the Friday. We got to go for a chance, and I heard him on Blackburn Radio this morning talking about how Transport Canada and the many regulatory individuals that were involved were very happy with the layout and the setup, and it was a great success. So much of a success. I'm really hoping that they bring it back again in a few years. We'll certainly keep you updated on that. And but thanks to Rob Hardwood, and there's a long list of names, but Director of Parks, he'll tell you that it all comes down to the volunteers and everybody else involved in collaborating, many of the staff, many of the people from Tourism Sarnia Lambton and Artscape, and everybody working together to make this happen. So congratulations to Rob Harbert and the team, I guess is the best way to do it. Alice in Wonderland showed up down there. I had my media tent down there at Tall Ships, and Alice in Wonderland and the Mad Hatter on behalf of the Painted Cat stopped by, and they were fantastic. They were all over the place, so it was great to get a picture with them. Blue Water Border Fest, wow. It was a great time, a busy time, and I got to tell you, Mark Perrin and his team also worked very, 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 very hard to make this happen again for this year. And as you can see, the crowds were happy and thrilled, and just a good performance by everybody who was there. It was, and one in particular, and I don't know if I have the picture. We'll come to it in just a second. Here's Paula McKinley as well, and it's important to point out that Blue Water Border Fest gives back into the community, and one of them being the Canadian Cancer Society. Of course, Brian Doherty of Big Rec had passed away recently fighting cancer, and that was an emotional performance for obvious reasons. But $2 from every ticket was donated to the Canadian Cancer Society. And there's Paula McKinley. Basically, she's thanking the crowd for their support and giving her story. It's while she's involved with the Canadian Cancer Society, it's also a very personal story to Paula. So great job up there, Paula, as well. Dennis DeYoung, wow, on the Saturday night. Dennis DeYoung, 72 years old, the original lead singer of Styx, killing it on stage. This guy did not stop at all, playing the keyboards, singing, dancing around, doing his thing. A true showman he was, Dennis DeYoung. And the crowd was, he didn't have to, he did sing, but he didn't have to because the crowd was singing along with him. And we were off to the side of the stage getting some photographs. And there's Dennis DeYoung, 72 years old. I have to tell you, one of the biggest stars, okay, big stars. You got Dennis DeYoung, you had the Rock Pack, you have Big Rec, and so many others. Aces High was there. They were fantastic. But I got to tell you, the biggest stars of the weekend, they stole the show, Rebound Rocks. And this is a group that was started close to 2 years ago here on behalf of Sarnia Lambton Rebound, a youth organization supporting youth here in Sarnia Lambton. And they started with about 4 or 5, and now there was about 14 of them on stage, all singing and dancing and just having a fantastic time. And they were just amazing performers. And I think, honestly, I think the crowd was quite surprised. I mean, I thought, okay, they're there, they're going to do good and everything, but I think, well, because they're young, they thought, okay, they'll do okay. No. They were doing Ozzy. They were doing Metallica. They were rocking that stage. We could have let them just play on and on and on and on, but they did a fantastic performance. So congratulations to Rebound Rocks and Rebound for creating the program there as well. They certainly did. Who's out there? Kimberly says Rebound Rocks nailed it. Yes, they did. Yeah, Kelly, you're funny. He says, I seen you with a golf cart maniac driving around Hoonisburg. Yeah, I wasn't driving the golf cart. The one day I was. Okay, all right. Along with me there on the final night, Max Major from K106.3 was out there in the crowd, and we brought him up on stage because he wanted to say a few words on behalf of K106.3, and he was thanking Mark Perrin and the team at Blue Water Border Fest as well. So thanks, Max Major, for being there as well. Dom says, had a great chat with Stephen and Corinder. Yeah, well, I was watching. A part of it I was watching, but I was doing stuff, and I'm not going to lie, I was taking a bit of a nap before this show as well, too, because it's just been such a busy weekend. But I did see you join there. Dom, it's good to have you on there. And nice to see you join along. Yeah, there's some more of the crowds at Blue Water Border Fest. And this lady was part of the Rock Pack, right? So what a fantastic weekend. And I'm really looking forward to see. Everybody's already saying, will Blue Water Border Fest happen again? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. They have to review these things. And okay, we'll go back for just a minute. So Lou Graham was announced that during the performance of the Rock Pack that he would not be performing, and he was here in town. I can confirm he was here in town. The reasons were that he had food poisoning and it was just not going to be able to get on that stage. So we're hoping that Lou Graham is okay. I'm sure we'll hear more officially from Blue Water Border Fest. At the end of the day, we hope as a human being, Lou Graham is okay. And fantastic that people came out and supported Blue Water Border Fest. And if you want to see more of that kind of thing, you have to come out to these things and support them. I know Mark Perrin and his family, and when I say family, I mean his blood family and his friend family. So many people behind the scenes worked so hard to make this happen, and there were a lot of obstacles along the way. But for the third year in a row, we had a music festival in Centennial Park, and it was awesome. So please give them your positive support to help keep that going, and I'm sure they will come out with an official response to that, because I know people already want to know. So I'm not in a position to give you that official response, okay? So I'm sure we'll hear more about that coming up. All righty. Local market, Brights Grove Market, has been happening every Wednesday throughout the summer in Brights Grove on Kenwick on the Lake. We live in, I will say it, I'll steal it, maybe I'll trademark it. And I don't know. My friend David Noel says all the time, we live in southwestern Ontario's Riviera. We have Lake Huron around us. We have St. Clair River. There's so much. We have beaches. It's fantastic. So get out to Brights Grove, right on Lake Huron there, on Kenwick on the Lake, and enjoy a local food market, food, music, and just local. And that happens every Wednesday from 4 till 7:30, Kenwick on the Lake. I did see Eve Morgan over the weekend at the Tall Ship. She was enjoying herself. So thank you, Eve Morgan, for your efforts in putting that on out in Brights Grove. The Moose Lodge here in town, where I do karaoke on the fourth Friday of every month, also has dinner, and the general public is welcome to come out and check them out. And they're having their cabbage rolls dinner on Friday, August the 23rd at 5 to 7 p.m. And they do meat raffles and all that sort of fun stuff as well. I have not been to the cabbage rolls dinner yet, but I hear the women of the Moose delicious. So you can go online on Facebook to the Moose Lodge in Sarnia to get more information about that. And it's only $10. $10, home cooked meal, and fellowship. I use the word fellowship because it's getting out and socializing and getting to know each other and the people in the community. And the Moose Lodge, a big community supporter here in Sarnia, and a great way to get out and meet some more people, right? So there you go. Check that out on August the 23rd. Hobby Fest. This is one that has always been a big deal for many, many years. I don't know the exact year number. We had Rachel Vayu and Rebecca Mills, I believe, on here last year, and looking to have them come up. They don't know it yet, so if you're watching, I'll be reaching out. Hobby Fest is coming up again. It'll be happening here in Germain Park and the Strangway Center on August the 24th. What is it about? Well, you guessed it. It's about hobbies. And you would be surprised, excuse me, still getting my voice back from the weekend. You'd be surprised that's a hobby. I didn't know that was a hobby. And if you're looking for something new to do, Hobby Fest is the place to be. We'll be talking about that coming up on future episodes as well. Yeah. Did you here's how you know. Here's how you know that the summer's almost over. Preseason Sting versus the London Knights on August the 31st at the Progressive Auto Sales Arena. That is coming up. And that's like a confirmation, like I said, that summer's coming closer to an end. And where did it all go? Multitasking here. Where did it all go? Coming into August 31st, we will see a hockey game. I guess that's a confirmation that, like I said. Sarnia Sting, how are they looking? I've been watching from afar. We'll be talking a little bit more coming up. We will have a special guest for you in a couple of weeks closer to that here on the show to talk about the upcoming season of the Sarnia Sting, how that looks, and maybe some predictions along the way as well. And looking forward to being back there once again. I'll be on the concourse with pre-show and intermission shows and post-game interviews with the players and the coaches along the way. So looking forward to that as well. And my first guest, she was sort of here, and she'll be back here in just a moment. Dolly Cortes. We'll just wait for her to arrive in here. I got to tell you, and I'm very sincere when I say that A lot of hard work goes into all of these events. I mean, the Tall Ships has been in the works for over a year. Now, when you think about that, that means over a year ago, almost close to a year and a half ago, the plans for the Tall Ships were put into place, and obstacles along the way, you got to come over those things. And Blue Water Border Fest, the same thing. A lot of planning, waiting to find out confirmations of are we going to have that financial support from the government, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want you to sit back and kind of take note of that and remember the efforts that go into these things that allow us to enjoy this in this beautiful place of Sarnia, Lambton that we live in. All right, found my first guest. Pardon me. I'm probably going to do that a lot because I'm still getting my voice back from the weekend, because I know I already talk a lot, but I did a lot of talking over the weekend, right? My first guest, as I said, she's from out of town, my out-of-town guest, my international guest, if you will. We're going to start doing that regularly here. I met her about a month ago, and I got to tell you, sometimes you meet people and you just click because of the positivity, or that you share the same philosophies. And she's one of those folks. We're going to bring her into the room right now. And Dolly Cortes, how you doing?
Hey, David, I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm a little tired. I'm not going to lie. As you probably saw over the weekend, I was a busy guy. And,
dude, did you actually say you had 36 live broadcasts?
Well, yeah, I didn't know that. Stephen Healy, we do a show at noon every Monday, and I asked him, could you just take this over today? I'm so tired. And he did. And he pointed out that I did 36 plus,
wow,
at least 36 broadcasts over the weekend between Tall Ships and our music festival, Blue Water Border Fest and Earthscape. Yeah, my feet are still angry with me. So.
I thought I was busy, but you left me behind.
Well, I wouldn't want to do it every weekend, I'll tell you that, but I'm happy to do it a couple times a year, but it was good. Dolly, thanks so much for joining me. And I was sincere when I said sometimes you just meet people you click with. And we've been doing that along with, of course, I had Anita here last week, and I forgot to bring her book down here with me to show it, but there's a picture on Facebook. Very happy.
There is. No, thank you so very much for the invitation. I'm grateful. I really appreciate it. And I did watch the show. I did watch the show last week. It was fun to watch the two of you together.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was just a good lead into having you here, because you were a part of Anita's success, but you're a part of many other success in publishing stories. And of course, we all know that we've got that, but Rose Gold Publishing, let's go back a year ago when, because you just celebrated your 1-year anniversary of this coming to life for you.
Yeah, I did on August 1st of this year. I just celebrated my first year, and then I had a huge event on August 2nd to celebrate not only my anniversary of the company, but also the authors that joined me for the first year.
Yeah,
Rose Gold Publishing, it absolutely means it's my world. It's my baby. Let's say, I started it because I really believe that there is just too much pain in this world. And I want to be a vehicle, that can help many people alleviate some of that pain, if not actually eliminate it. I work with people that want to write to heal from their past experiences and to let their voices be heard. And I think that is so incredibly critical, to be able to share your story and to just let it out of your system, to let it out of your body. And for you to actually, hopefully go to the path of even forgiveness for those that have hurt you.
Well, and that's I guess that's probably the hard part. I mean, I've started a book, meaning I have the title. I haven't done anything.
Okay.
And I have a lot going on up here. I have the thoughts, as we all have their thoughts, but some of us aren't really good at putting it down on paper. How do you get that out of somebody?
You know what? So I'm very different compared to many other publishing companies, specifically because I actually do coaching. So I work with you as a client. I work with you, and I actually start asking you these deep-hearted questions about, what is the message that you're trying to convey? Who are you trying to convey this message to? But most importantly, what is your why? What is your why? Why is this so important for you to share this? And when you start telling me what your story is, I don't know, it just comes naturally to me because I am a certified life coach, by the way, certified life and business coach. But it just naturally comes to me in the guidance that this person may need. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not trying to be a psychologist, but I am a mom. I am a friend. I am a sister. I have my own story and I have my life experiences. And based on the training that I also received as a coach, I just feel that it's really easy just to have a conversation. I listen to what my customer needs, to what they need to express. I mean, I had one of the authors, Deborah Jimenez, she just published her book. The week one was him, which was so incredibly powerful. And it was something that when she and I started talking, she just asked me for my writing guide so that she could start writing things down. She never imagined that she would publish her book. But in conversation, I realized that, it was really hurting her. So I started guiding her and I said, honey, you need to let this out. You need to share your story because the more you talk about it, the more it's going to help you. And I mean, this woman went from absolute total rage to smiling again. So I know that I know that my guidance, because at the end of the day, she has to want it. I cannot enforce it on her.
Yeah.
But it was critical.
Well, and I think, out of the list of things that you said you are to sister or mom, but friend, there's that's a hard definition sometimes as a friend, because I think sometimes as a friend, we're just supposed to be nice to each other. Sometimes we have to be really super honest. Mm-hmm. And
that's actually my disclaimer.
I've had that. I had a few people tell me I wouldn't be doing this show if I didn't have a couple people be really honest with me. Mm-hmm. But that's not always an easy task to come out and, like in Anita's book, she puts out a lot of very personal information.
Yes, she does.
And people that know you or think they know you are going to read this and go, wow. And sometimes we might feel embarrassed by it, so that can't be an easy, I guess to learn how to be honest with yourself is probably one of the toughest things to do.
Vulnerability is absolutely huge here. When we work together, I wrote 4 books myself, and I wrote 3 of them in 1 year. And I was asked if, I was, my son calls me the writing ninja because I just write. I just write. I love to write, but I also love to read and I love to learn. I always look for, ways to learn. And you know what? Vulnerability was key. I had to look at this as this is bigger than me. If I share my story, who am I going to impact? How am I going to help someone? Yeah. And I know that when I first launched one of my 3 books that I did in 1 year, when I first launched that one, which was in June 2017, a lady reached out to me and told me, because I read your book, I believe you saved my life. Wow. And that to me was incredibly powerful. So it just continued to be a confirmation that I needed to help other people share their stories. And many people know me as your voice needs to be heard. I'm always talking about it. Right to heal, and your voice needs to be heard. Let your voice be heard. Speak loud, speak proud, but speak the truth. One of the things that I also do emphasize is the fact that I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Wow.
So, and that's part of the conversations we have. And I do it with love. I did it with Anita. Anita wanted to do something. She wanted a specific project to be handled a specific way. And I told her, okay, let's look at the way let's look at this project the way you want me to look at it. But as I kept on working on this project with her, I kept on telling her, I do not hear your voice. This is not you. I do not hear your voice. And it's because I got to learn her on a personal level, learn who she was. But what I was reading from what she had written before was not her. So I had to keep on digging until I found that beautiful and amazing soul and that voice that I knew that she had that was so incredibly powerful that she had to share her story the way that it was meant to. And the messages that this woman is receiving is just, it's just out of this world, because she is so in awe that she has been able to impact so many people in such a short period of time.
Yeah. Well, and impact, that's a big word with me. So that's probably one of the reasons why you and I click. And here's a photograph. So you had your gala.
I did.
A couple weeks ago or last week. And
August 2nd.
Yeah, here's some more people that you've been able to impact. Because that works both ways. Don't forget. And talk about some of the people in here and when this photograph was taken, how you must be feeling at this point.
I am very, very proud here. You see the two gentlemen at the end, the father and son. The father is 91 years old. And here together, we published this book for them. It's called El Ranchero Político. I mean, working with a 91-year-old man was a little bit of a challenge because what I had him do was actually record everything that he wanted to share. And I would listen to these recordings, and I tell you, it was hours and hours and hours of recordings. And I was helping them put this book together to make it the way that they needed to share it. And it's about his political life here in the United States and in the Chicagoland area without a formal education. He knows many important people in the political arena. And it's because of how he just decided one day that he needed to get involved with the community and make a difference. We have Rita Owen right next to me on my right, blonde hair. She talks about her childhood experiences, what she felt as a child. One of the things that really was strong to her was how she felt that she was not enough. And I had to just guide her with her story. I always talk about just share who you are, just speak from the heart. And it will all be okay because you're telling your version of it. And I even put a disclaimer, this, in the books with each one, is like, this is based on the author's views and personal experiences. So it's not so that they could be judged. It's so that they can be appreciated, if nothing else. And it's all about the healing. You have the other lady on the left of me. She wrote about her immigrant mother who, when she came into the States, she had to leave half her kids behind in Mexico. And she came here to the States seeking help after her husband passed away. She had to deal with her daughters being attacked and men trying to rape them, the boys needing to work the farms at such an early age of 8 years old. The stories that she shared in that book are so incredibly powerful. I tell you that when I was reading her manuscript, my tears are in that book, just as many of her tears, because as I'm reading that story, it just shows you how much love Martha had for her family, but most importantly, how much love Martha's mother had for her family. And how everything came together. It's really powerful. You have right behind Martha, you see a book, white and blue a little bit, Rocks Don't Cry. This is of one of the authors that she sought the therapy because she thought that she had one problem. In actuality, the therapist realized there was so much trauma in her life that what she was living was actually not the norm. So, here, Jamie, she goes through this experience of discovering who she really is because she went to a therapist to seek help on one topic and then uncovering so much more that was hidden under the rocks, let's say. Then you have our beautiful Itzel Luna. She wanted to share through a children's book a legacy that her late husband had. You could tell she's a young woman. He died as a young man in his 20s in a car accident. She loved him dearly, and he was a healer from Nigeria. So we put together a children's book to share his legacy and for her, to keep his legacy alive and to share the beautiful messages that he used with the people in the community. We have, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I'm sitting here with sort of my jaw dropping a little bit because I hear this without even reading the books. I can hear the stories when you talk. And it's because of your passion and sincerity that you put into this. And I guess we sometimes, do we get consumed in our own world where we go, okay, like it's about me. So what do I need to tell a story for? And then we realize, somebody like you helps us realize that our story can be impactful to others. Do we get caught up on that ourselves with that sometimes?
I think so. I think that we also do not give enough importance to our story. I hear that a lot. I hear people say, it happened to me. I've heard it happen to other people, but, it happened to me and it was really bad. And how am I supposed to? I don't think anyone is really going to care. It's my story. Who's going to read it? Maybe the 10 people in my family that know me, they're going to read it. After that, I'm just throwing away my money or the message or my time. Right. And I always try to emphasize it. I also started a meetup group that is called Right to Heal. And I work specifically with the community. And I met with two people this weekend. And one of them was a man who's 39 years old who, who had a very difficult teenage years. But it was because he chose to be rebellious, not because his home life was difficult. It was because he chose that path. But he also emphasized to me how his parents never gave up on him. So I told him, you need to write that story, because the parents that are at the verge of giving up on their children need to hear that. Don't give up on your children. And the children that have chosen this path need to realize there were consequences based on the decisions that you made, including being in detention centers and juvenile centers. And it affected you. It even affected you getting a better job at a later date and going into college and so on and so forth. So I really believe that everyone has a story, but I also believe there's too much pain in this world, and we all have a responsibility to fix it.
Well, you've been helping a lot of people bring that to life, and I wish I had more time for you. 15 minutes, definitely. I knew it wouldn't be enough time for you.
Yeah,
but, we wanted to get the conversation started with you and let people know more about you, because I personally think that what you're doing is incredibly impactful.
Thank you.
I see so many more great things happening with you, and I know we're going to keep connecting.
Absolutely.
Maybe we just need to do a 1-hour show on you. I don't know.
I'll take it. I can handle it.
Yeah. If people want to reach out to you, I guess go into your website, Rose Gold Publishing LLC, and visit you on Facebook as well. It's probably the best way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely the best way. I'm looking for 20 authors for 2020. And I actually have signed an author from Canada, by the way. We're working together. So my first international client. Well,
I maybe I need to talk to you and you can help me. I'll tell you the title of my book. It's called Episode 1.
Episode 1. Okay, that's very general.
Episode 1. I'll talk to you more. I'll explain. You got to have an episode 1.
You do.
Right.
You have a beautiful day. Thank you so very much for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dolly. Love you so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
My friend Dolly Cortes from out of town. Yeah, she's from out of town and having so many great so much impact on so many lives by telling stories, and everybody's got one for sure. You've got one? Reach out to her online. If you're just joining us, we just spoke with Dolly Cortes, a publisher, Rose Gold Publishing, and we'll be posting all the links and information about everybody that we're having here on the show today. After the show will be posted on our Facebook page, so you'll be able to go back there and check things out. All right, let's bring it back to local. And, not everybody is fortunate as many of us. And back to school, as I was talking earlier, can be a challenge for many. Myles Vanni is joining us here from the Inn of the Good Shepherd. Good day, Myles.
Good afternoon, Dave.
Great to have you back with us. It's been a little while since we've chatted.
Well, thank you. It's great to be able to share some of our story.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there you go. Maybe she could help you write a book about what you're doing here. The Inn of the Good Shepherd. I think anybody who knows the Inn of the Good Shepherd locally here in Sarnia or Sarnia Lambton, I think the first thing that comes to mind is food. And you've trained me well to tell people that the Inn of the Good Shepherd needs 40,000 pounds of food every month to feed this community. Right? Is it 40,000 pounds?
It's up a little bit with some of our programs with snack packs and mobile market. We're closer to about 45,000 pounds now.
Right. Okay.
It's a staggering amount for our community.
Yeah. Wow. So we got to try. The deal is to try to get that number down, I guess. Right. So yes. That certainly shows a big need happening. But back to school can be really expensive.
Yeah. For those of us with children, we know how expensive it is when it's time to go back to school. And when you're already struggling, paying the bills or getting food to put on the table, then it's an even more difficult stretch to come up with those funds you need for those school supplies for kids. Used to be the schools would provide them. They had their budgets cut a long time ago, and that's not available. Used to be, if you were on any kind of assistance, the government would give you a little extra on your check in August to buy school supplies for your kids, and they eliminated that about 10 years ago.
Oh wow!
So it just makes it more difficult for kids and for families, and that's where we came up with the back to school program.
Is is there an average? Do you know, like, is there an average amount that it costs a person to buy school? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, is there a number?
Yeah, well, we haven't really looked at it from a cost perspective, a dollar amount. What we know is we get from the schools the kinds of items that the children need to have for September back to school.
Okay.
And we put those kits together. I guess it would probably roughly average out to about $35 to $50 just in school supplies, let alone, that second pair of sneakers or new shoes or whatever.
Oh, easily. I would have thought more, I guess. Yeah.
Well, we get good deals on the material, so that's kind of what we're spending or what we're getting in donated value.
Yeah, well, I'm just showing everybody here. You've partnered up with Manly's Basics and Staples as well in this. Absolutely,
they're great supporters. Manly's runs a program where you could buy a little pack, and they bring it over to us, and it's enough for a JKK kit or a grade 7-8 kit. So they have them right there, easy shopping, ready to purchase. And Staples has been a great provider in providing some of the materials and stuff that we need, plus the general community donating the supplies that we need. We're anticipating we're going to build about 700 backpacks this year.
Wow.
For kindergarten right through to high school. Those kindergarten kids, those packs are going to get crayons, and we'll put a scientific calculator in the high school pack. So they're really geared to the learning needs of those kids. And,
sure.
And that's really what it's all about. We want to make sure the kids going back to school have the tools they need for good learning.
Yeah, and well, again, and that cost attached to that, this is a fantastic program that you've been able to put together. And you mentioned in there too, so the general public, if they want to go out and buy some stuff on their own, like they can go to Manly's and Staples and get these pre-packs. But if they want to go buy some more stuff and bring it down and bring it to you guys, you welcome that as well.
Absolutely, bring it to us on John Street. We'd love to get that. We're starting next week. We're going to start assembling all the backpacks and putting in what they need for the various grades. And the last week of the month is when we distribute them. We have a couple of days here at the inn on the Tuesday and the Wednesday morning where folks can come in and if they need, if they're registered with the inn, they can get a backpack for their kids. But we also, probably about a third of the backpacks that we build actually go throughout the county. So we'll take backpacks out through our mobile market truck to families in Watford or Forest or Elvinston, wherever that need is. So it isn't just a specific Sarnia only. We're looking after the Lambton County.
Right. You must, what about volunteers? If maybe I don't have the resources to make purchases to donate, but can I come down and donate my time to help put these packages together?
Absolutely. We have these pack stuffing days, so we have volunteers come in. We're also really lucky. We've had great sponsorship for our backpack program the last couple of years through CF Industries, who has been the major lead sponsor, and Suncor and the Golden K Kiwanis Club contribute financially as well for some of the stuff we have to buy. And they all come in and send teams of volunteers to help build them, as well as the Circles program sends some volunteers to help to build. So many hands make light work.
Right. And I guess is there involvement with the schools at all? Like, do they have some kind of connection to all of this?
We don't connect or work directly with the schools because we want to make sure it's not like we provide them to the schools to hand out to the kids in need. We want to make sure those kids have those backpacks before school starts. So they're walking into that school like any other child with a new backpack and with all the tools they need. We don't want kids to be kind of singled out, partway through the week after school started because they don't have this and they don't have that.
Yeah,
and the teachers kind of trying to find it out. We want those kids to not kind of wear that burden of poverty. We want them to be ready that first day of school.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And what about throughout the rest of the year? Okay, things get started and stuff. Do you still do you find there's still a need like a few months later down the road that people are still looking?
Yeah, and that's where we will keep some of the supplies on hand to kind of top up, or if somebody needs some new supplies or they run out, we can assist them through the year as well. And that's where it's really helpful when the public donates, or when we've got some churches, St. Giles, we're picking up tomorrow some supplies they collected. It's everybody pitching in and doing that means we're able to fill those 700 kits.
Right. Well, I think it's
work with local agencies like Circles and Children's Aid, the boys the Huron Boys Home, to help provide their children with kits as well.
Yeah. Well, my kids are grown now, and so I haven't had to buy the stuff in a while, but I remember how much it was when they were little, and that was a few years ago. So, yeah. I mean, prices go up; they don't go down typically.
Exactly.
So I think it's and how long? This is the 13th year of this.
We've been doing. I think it's been about 10 or 11 years.
Okay.
When the government cut back that funding to support families for the school kits, that's when we kicked in and we started off giving it a try. And Imperial and the Noel's Gift were right at the start, big supporters to get it started for us.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fantastic if you've been able to put this together, and because again, I every time you and I talk, we have similar conversations, but it's great. We need food. That's awesome. Always keep bringing the food. But I think it's important to try to bring Into the Good Shepherd to the forefront of everybody's minds throughout the year, because Christmas is always a popular time of year because that's when we become more giving and that stuff, and then things get forgotten throughout the rest.
Hunger and poverty, they don't take a summer vacation.
They don't.
They're there year round. And I've been kind of, we see that poverty is much like an iceberg, Dave. If you think back to your grade 9 high school geography class, and they talked about this iceberg that, 10% is floating above the water, but most of it's hidden. And that's kind of what rips a hole in that Titanic and sinks it. Well, poverty is the same way. We think about food, we think about shelter, but there's so many other things that give struggles to families when it's expensive times of the year, like back to school or Christmas, when they, have to have transportation or getting their taxes done. There's so many things that families struggle with outside of food and shelter, particularly when they're only working part-time and not getting many hours. And that's where we do a lot of those other programs like winter coats to be able to help families through the year.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. You talk about the hidden side. I think you might be surprised who's using the End of the Good Shepherd for help. Is that accurate to say?
I think so. I think we see, I think there's that myth out there that, well, if you're using the inn, well, maybe you're just too lazy to get a job. But the reality is most of the families we're serving, they're working. They're trying with, 1, 2, 3, sometimes part-time jobs. But, the majority of Canadians now are working part-time jobs. It used to be everybody had a full-time job with benefits and regular hours, and in well-paying jobs. But a few years ago, that switched where the majority of Canadians now are working part-time, minimum wage, and no benefits. So, all these struggles come up not through any fault of their own for not trying. And we also have a significant number of people that we're helping that are on a disability or a retirement pension. And so they've already worked a lifetime or they physically can't work. And that's really where we're putting a lot of the resources to. Yeah.
Well, I know you've got a lot of community partners. I know, especially on this one, we mentioned, CF Industries, Suncor, Ontario Power Generation, and I know you have a long list of supporters, which really, and I know you do get some government funding, but it's still the community itself really is a major portion of keeping the End of the Good Shepherd.
Absolutely, more than half of the supports we get, and the government funding we get are targeted to very specific things. It's for the Haven, the youth shelter, or a rent utility bank, or for the Good Shepherd Lodge shelter. All these other programs that we do, the winter coats or backpacks or snack packs, mobile market, that's all the food bank and the soup kitchen. It's all local contributions that make that happen.
Fantastic. Well, Myles, congratulations to you. And I know you have a team down there that works very hard to keep things growing at the End of the Good Shepherd. And I appreciate you taking time to come here and talk with us about the back to school program.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Come back again soon.
Will do.
Our friend Myles Vanni, Executive Director of the Inn of the Good Shepherd, constantly working hard. And he makes a good point. Poverty and homelessness does not take a vacation. So it's ongoing. And right now, getting ready to go back to school, that's the time when they could use some extra help along the way. And as you see up on the screen, the Good Shepherd has partnered with Manly's Basics. They're located at 152 Kendall Street in Point Edward, and their phone number up on the screen as well. And Staples at 1379 London Road, where pre-packaged back-to-school kits are available to purchase. So, and if you want to go and purchase those kits, and while you're there, you want to buy some more, I'm sure you can do that and take it down to the John Street location as well. So thanks again, Myles Vanni, for joining us here today. All right, let's switch gears now. Let's get into some music. I've known these young fellers for probably about 5 years now, and I'm happy to see them grow as musicians and grow as young men as well. And they are known as Roundhouse. And here they are. We've got Ryan Etheridge and Brock Round. How you doing, gentlemen?
Good. Yeah, good. How you doing, Dave?
Doing fantastic. You guys have got to be about 5. Is it 5 years now?
But we're coming up on 4.
Coming up on 4. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself there. But it's been, and how old are you guys now?
We're all 19 and 18.
18, 19 years old. Okay. And so some of you are away at school or getting ready to go back to school?
Yeah, at the moment, actually just me. I'm going back to Fanshawe here for music production.
Right. Oh, for music production, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. That's an obvious choice for you, I guess.
Yeah. It's an awesome course. I'm loving it. It's good.
Yeah. What got you guys started? I always want to, I mean, I ask the question a lot, but I'm always curious as to how people decided to do what they're going to do. So you, as musicians, how did you get started with that? Let's start with you, Brock.
Well, my neighbor actually was a drummer, and I would hear him across the street all the time. So one day he invited me over to watch him play, and I was hooked on it ever since. I wanted to be a drummer after that, all along.
Yeah, right on. And Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, my older brothers just played guitar ever since I could remember, and I wanted to be like my cool older brothers. So just got a guitar and started taking lessons. And then eventually just started teaching myself, and yeah.
Well, that sort of led to my next. So you took some lessons, but now you're more self-taught than anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now there's 5 of you in the band, right?
4 of us.
4. Sorry. Okay. And who are the other guys? Let everybody know who that is.
Yeah. So we got Jared Park. He's the singer, and Bryce Abrams. He's the bass player.
Okay. And how did the 4 of you connect?
Through high school. We all went to the same high school together.
Okay. And the name Roundhouse, I think I have a pretty good memory of how that came about, but tell everybody how you come up with that band name.
Yeah. So we basically, when we first became a band, we didn't actually have a name for like a few months. And we were thinking of a name, and we like had a bunch of different ones, and we like put a vote to it. And essentially, it came down to just like the lesser of like 2 evils kind of deal. Like it was like the not baddest sounding name, essentially. But it also has to do with because we picked it because we practice at Brock's house here.
Okay.
So, like Brock Round's house, kind of, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. And that makes sense. But can you remember some of the other choices that you had to maybe go with?
I think we had some good ones. We had some gems there. We had Funk Slice.
Slice.
Yeah.
Run for Cover was one.
Run for Cover. I think The Backwoods was one.
Right.
I can't really remember them all. There's a bunch of them.
Roundhouse just seems so fitting now because you guys have made a great name for yourself. And when you started this 4 years ago, did you see yourself doing what you're doing now, or were you just starting and having some fun and you were teenagers that, yeah, well, whatever, we'll see where this goes?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, well, for me anyway, I was just really pumped to be in a band and playing in bars underage. I thought it was pretty cool. I just thought it was cool.
What about, pardon me, what about you, Brock?
Yeah, I thought of being a professional drummer for my career. But my drum teacher, Gary McCracken, he told me that you can be a drummer, but have something else to fall back on. So
right. So what's the thing for you to fall back on?
I'm actually a welder right now. I'm going for learning how to weld. I'm at a welding shop right now. And
Yeah, okay.
be a welder. Welding pays the bills, and drumming is just something fun to do on the weekend.
Right. But if somebody came along and said, we want you to be a full-time drummer, you'd be okay with that?
Oh, I'd quit immediately, yes.
Well, you never know, right? Like, follow your passion, and you never know what can come your way. But I think it's important to have more than one plan. That's a good way to prepare yourself. And I'm sure moms and dads, where are they in all of this? They're obviously supportive of what you young fellas are doing.
Yeah, definitely. My parents have supported my older brothers for a long time, and they support us too. They come out to like almost every gig, and
yeah, we do see them. Not almost every gig. They're at every gig.
Pretty much, honestly. Sometimes they're the only people in the crowd.
Yeah. I see them, and hi. Yeah, I'm not surprised you're there, and that's good. You guys. Interesting, at least to me, as somebody who's 50 years old, some of the music you play, I was listening to when I was in high school, and it was old music already then. And now you're playing that. What is it about classic rock? And like, because that seems to be your main focus is classic rock sound, right?
Yeah, that's our kind of sound, especially like with our originals and stuff too. Like it's got a rock, bluesy,
a blend of everything.
It's kind of got a little smoothie blend of a bunch of stuff, you know.
Yeah, and this has led down to where you're at. You've got an EP release party coming up at Paddy Flaherty's on August the 17th. That has to be really exciting.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped for sure. It's gonna be good. We actually just we have some news actually. So Curtis O'Block was supposed to be opening up the night there, and he recently just fell off a skateboard and broke his arm.
Oh.
So we're currently
scrambling
in the search for an opening act, but we should be fine. We'll figure it out.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun night.
Do you have some in mind, or are you still looking?
We got a few people in mind lined up here. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. So the writing, let's talk about that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Anybody who knows you guys with classic rock influence, that's where I'm guessing your writing of your own music is coming from. Mm-hmm. Who does the writing of the lyrics? Who does the writing of the music? Or does everybody take a turn? Or what's the process in putting that all together?
So me and Jared kind of share the load of the lyrics and like music part of it. So like Jared writes the majority of the lyrics for sure, and then I'll help him out and like edit some of his lyrics and whatnot. And we both contribute to the music side of it. And then we basically just bring these ideas to Brock and Bryce, and then we like collaborate on like different bass lines, and then Brock does his thing. Yeah.
And do you guys argue about it along the way?
No, we're pretty kosher.
Yeah, I feel like it's more that we all listen to the same music, so we kind of have the same grasp of where the song's going to go.
Right.
So, we're not really fighting over anything. Maybe a few little spots here and there, but nothing big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk. I always, obviously classic rock influence, but specifically, are there specific individuals or artists that you would say influence this entire EP that you're putting out?
I'd say the EP kind of gives off some vibes of like the Black Keys for sure. There's definitely some hints of that. I don't know. It's just kind of got like a southern rock, kind of bluesy, like. And then there's some pop elements in there too. I don't know. I'm excited for it to come out for sure.
Yeah. Now, obviously, some of the folks that have influenced you are no longer with us on this planet, but some are. Have you ever been to any of the concerts?
No, I don't think I have been. No.
I've been to the Tragically Hip when they were here at Bayfest for the last time.
Right. And they were here 3 times.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself after this? What's after this comes out? Do you guys have further plans or like, a bit of a roadmap for the next part of the journey here?
Yeah. So hopefully this EP is well received, and we're planning on booking some more shows out of town. we're making some good friends with other bands.
Right.
Hoping to get on some bills there. And yeah, most likely just going to be dropping some singles throughout the next 8 months or so.
Yeah.
Here. And yeah, we'll just see where she goes.
It must get more difficult when you go away to school and some of the guys stay here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of nice that 3 of the 4 of us are going to be in Sarnia.
Yeah.
So that's kind of convenient, and I'm just in London, so it's not too far.
Yeah. Okay.
But it is definitely busy with school for sure. My program's nuts.
Yeah.
So.
Do you ever use do you use Skype or anything to practice with each other? You ever thought of doing that?
Well, like we play a decent amount, so I'll end up being home like a couple times a month, and we usually just throw in a practice like whenever we're home. Yeah.
So Roundhouse is expanding. They got their EP party, and you're expanding into other cities, which is a good plan, I think, because it's great that you play in your local community. But if you want to keep growing, you've got to step outside that box.
Yeah.
And speaking of community, I know that you also are performing at local community events, fundraisers, and support of that. Does that help you? Does that make you feel good that you know that hey, we're doing something that we can help support, a way to give back into our community as well?
Yeah, definitely. It's good to give back for sure. And everybody enjoys music, so it's good to share that with people.
Yeah. So what time does this start down? Paddy Flaherty's on August 17th. It starts 9:00, right?
Yeah, approximately 9:00. Music's going to start. And then there's going to be 2 acts before us. We got, to be announced. And then the Housens are the second act. And they're going to have each a 45-minute set. And then we're going to go on for like about 45 to an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how much is so the EP release? Is this on CD and vinyl, or how is it available?
Yeah, so we're gonna have CDs to sell at the party there, and unfortunately, it's not gonna be on Spotify in time, but it'll be uploaded to Spotify, Apple Music, all the major streaming services a few weeks after. Okay,
so we'll be able to download that as well.
Yeah.
And, any thoughts of putting it on vinyl? Did you have that conversation at all?
We haven't really talked about it, but it's definitely something I've kind of looked into. And probably something we would do like further down the road after we get all of the like uploading it to streaming services and all that out of the way. Once we get all that out of the way, it'll be a cool thing to get it vinyl pressed, I think. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have that on vinyl, and I'd like a copy for sure on vinyl. Yeah, after this EP release party, will people be able to buy it locally somewhere, or how will they get? Yeah, we're gonna give Cheeky Monkey downtown there a few. Teresa Chalmers there. She has her studio. I believe she's moving. It used to be on Mitten. I don't know where it's moving now, but she's got a couple too in her studio there. Perfect. She's done a lot of photography work for you. Yeah, she has. Yeah, her and Nathan Thrift did all our graphic design stuff. Well, that's fantastic. Well, I'm really proud of you guys because, like I say, I've known you a few years, and I saw when you got started, and I just always kind of felt like there's really some extra special talent in there. So it's nice to see you continue moving forward. And I know you've got a lot of family support, and you've built a great fan base. And I think even beyond university, college, whatever, I think you guys are still going to be rocking it out pretty hard. I hope so. Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. I'll do my best to get down there and see you in person. I know we recently just saw you at Captain Kidd Days. You did a fantastic performance there as well. I think that's got to be the show of the summer for us. I think that was a fun one. Yeah, you were great. You got to play twice over that weekend, right? So yeah, we did, yeah. So that was a bonus. Thanks so much, Ryan and Brock. Say hello to the rest of the guys for me, and I'm sure we'll be in touch with you or seeing you around town somewhere again soon. Definitely. Almost definitely, yeah. Take care. Members of Roundhouse. I mean it when I say I saw them years ago, and I was like, hey, these guys are rocking. They got something going on. We've had them play Ribfest in the past and different locations. I know they've done some fundraisers for friends of mine and Captain Kidd Days, and they are just truly passionate about their music. So fantastic. All right. Well, boy, time flies when you're having fun, right?
And I want to say thank you to my guests once again, my out-of-town guest, Dolly Cortes from Rose Gold Publishing. And I want to say thanks to Myles Vanni from the Inn of the Good Shepherd, talking about their backpack program, their back-to-school program. And you can find out more about that on their website and Facebook page. And, of course, the members of Roundhouse. Once again, I'll just show that up there. There they are. They're going to be at Paddy Flaherty's on August the 17th for their EP release party. Go down there and support them. They're fantastic. And thank them for being here as well. I will be posting links to all the interviews and all the information for everybody we talked about with here. So keep an eye out for that. I want to say thanks to my longtime supporters, AG Event Graphics. You can visit them online at askguy.ca. They do car wraps. They do banners. They do giant trucks. So, listen, if you need some kind of branding, just go to askguy.ca and they'll be able to help you out. Also want to say thank you to Joe's Tire coming on as a yearly supporter here as well. Joe's Discount Tire, located over here on South Indian Road. And yes, it's still motorcycle season. I ride on two wheels, so you're going to hear me every week reminding you to keep an eye out on the road for two wheels. Drive aware, ride aware. And our friend Oswald's out on Plank Road. If you like motorcycles but you don't have one, or you have a motorcycle, you want to show it off, come out to Oswald's on Plank Road here in Sarnia every Tuesday night for Two Wheel Tuesdays. And Wednesday nights, it's cruise night. Some real cool classic cars out there every Wednesday. Again, Oswald's Diner out on Plank Road. And if you can't look at me, or you don't want to look at me and you'd rather just listen to me, you can find us everywhere podcasts are available, on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Again, everywhere podcasts be found, you can download our episodes there as well. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.